I'm not going to do my whole intro bit for this bullshit because, frankly, I don't care enough to do it. I'm just going to get into it right off the rip. I also like to mention that I'm going to be mentioning some people who I'm not exactly happy with, and really the only reason why I bring them up is just because they said dumb shit on the internet, so I'm just going to call it as I see it. This doesn't mean I want to get into some retarded slap fight with anyone or anything like that. It's just me saying how I feel about it and leaving it at that. So if your first response to hearing yourself being called out for saying dumb shit is to act fucking butthurt about it, I'm not sorry. Let me paint a picture for you real quick. Imagine you're minding your business and all of a sudden someone decides to slap you across the face. We're talking like pimp hand, backhand, pure fucking slap. You proceed to slap them back across the face with the same force, only for them to start beating you with a brick. Someone steps in to intervene and you're thinking, oh cool, it's all been caught on camera, I'm in the clear. Only to then see that a year later, the footage gets posted all over YouTube, having been framed in a way that makes the person who intervened look like the aggressor, and the one who was literally tenderizing your face with a literal brick is turned into a victim, all while no one asks you a single fucking question. That is kind of what the last 3 years since that call on Sarah's channel have been like for me. Granted, I'm aware that I'm not a saint. I've done my fair share of dumb shit around that time myself. However, even with that, looking back on everything now as an adult, I still can't wrap my head around the decision to completely overlook my side of the story in favor of turning the one who was not only harassing me, but people close to me and even Lio himself into a martyr for a crusade against some old dumbass in a lion mask. Before we get to the headline of the whole fucking thing, I just want to make it abundantly clear. This video isn't going to be white knighting for Lio or anything like that. The old man can do it himself on his own time when he's done building Gundams for a bunch of peanut chuckers. He's done plenty of shit that deserves addressing, and he has addressed it in the past. Does that mean he still shouldn't be held accountable for it? Absolutely not. Fucking crucify him for it all you want. But pretending like you people haven't been beating a dead horse since 2023 isn't really an option either. This video is just going to be me yapping about something I probably should have talked about much sooner, but opted not to because I value my own sanity. So let's get to the headline, then we can get back to the insanity. In 2022, I made a video discussing a situation I went through with someone named Dreadful Jax. If you want to know more, this video has been readily available to watch for the past 3 years, so you can go take your lazy ass over there and watch 17.5 minutes of me explaining everything. Nothing was stopping you people from microanalyzing Sarah's video for the past couple years. You can take 17.5 minutes out of your day to go watch that shit. Oh wait, I forgot what kind of people I'm speaking to, so let me go ahead and explain it in a way you can understand. So I used to be friends with Jax. That part is absolutely true. But the key word is used to be. The reason why I started dissociating from him was because he made advances towards me and made me uncomfortable. And I further dissociated from him when he went out of his way to defend someone named Tater, who's his own can of worms I don't really care enough to dissect right now. The main point is, after stepping away from him, Jax went out of his way to harass me in DMs, raid my Discord server with his friends, harass my friends, and even sent me both drawings he made of a dick with my Sonus color palette and a literal zoo porn of Perry the Platypus. All of this is what led to the call with Sarah and Lio. You know, the same call where I was getting yelled at by that old prick just as much, and yet all I hear about is Lio being in the wrong for calling someone's school. You're all probably scratching your heads in confusion upon hearing all of this, because the version you've been fed by people like Akumu, Gilded, and even fucking Lonza was that Jax was being a dumb 15-year-old getting into some Discordian drama, and that Lio was being a chest thumper who was trying to intimidate someone. How the full story got this fucking lost in translation is frankly beyond me, but my best guess is either the call that Sarah posted framed this as the situation in the introduction, or someone ran with their own narrative and they just opted to go with that instead of fact-checking it. This is how it started, when in reality, it was more like this. So if that's how the call really went, how did these people frame it?
Lio and the Senate love to accuse anybody and everybody that they're dealing with of anime villain LARPing, anime monologuing, something that the art community also does. And it's fucking great. I found a really funny Senate call. In it starts with, two 15-year-olds that are arguing over some Discordia drama, usual Discord shit, okay? And Lio gets involved, right? He's this almost 40-year-old man. He's got this found family, these adopted internet kids. He's the kind of guy that everybody goes to handle stuff like this, right? He doesn't take shit from anybody. He should know exactly what to do.
On September 16th, 2023, Gilded Poo will upload a video talking more about LioConvoy. While a lot of it in that video is stuff we already learned about, there's one thing in particular that he brings up that is much more interesting than the rest. On February 22nd, 2022, Queen Seraphina will upload a call between Lio and someone named Dreadful Jax, an at the time 15-year-old who got into a petty argument in a voice call in the Senate just 5 days prior. The way the call goes down makes Lio look extremely bad, so let's take a listen at a long but very interesting clip on what went down in there. We've seen from those older top-of-the-barrel calls from earlier, Lio was already known for threatening to find people's info, and most of the time the people he would do this to were adults like Smash Bandicoot or another gross degenerate who was seen as morally justified in that community. However, you can clearly see in this argument with Jax that he knew he was a 15-year-old minor and was the aggressor the entire time, and yet he still threatened to call his school all because he couldn't get the upper hand in an argument with him.
Oh hey, fucking wonderful thing that I just found out as I was putting this thing together. Fucking Gilded's video disappeared into the ether, so fucking take that part about him saying shit with a grain of salt, I guess, but damn. Okay, so is the concept of basic fucking research just lost on this community? I know the answer is yes, and I shouldn't be surprised that it is, but considering the circumstances, I think I'm well owed a fair bit of delusional hope. What bothers me the most though, besides the obvious issue of them turning the aggressor into a victim, is that out of all the decisions they made, not one of them was going to ask Lio questions if they were so concerned about this. In fact, I think the only one who went out of their way to ask questions was Pizza, someone from Cass's server who no longer associates with that dumbass anymore, but that's a whole other story. Or I don't know, maybe you should ask the other 15-year-old in that call that barely got a word in edgewise because Lio was busy being big and scary while Jax was making everyone go fucking deaf. With all this fucking prying into everything to do with Lio and what he's done, I'm shocked that you people just didn't think to research just a little bit more. And it's even more egregious in Wanza's case because he has the largest platform and his fucking video was in the works for, months from what I heard? Literally all you had to do was follow the breadcrumb trail. Since, from what I could tell, Wanza's research was based off the videos done by other people like Gilded, here's how the process could have went down. Start with Gilded's video, which then leads to the call on Sarah's channel. Go back in time just a tiny bit from there, you'll see her video on Tater. And since that video contained a clip from my video, and Sarah shows my channel up on fucking full display, you can meander your dumbass over there and find my video explaining everything. Boom. Problem solved. This isn't fucking rocket science. And yet with how so many people over the years have overlooked this basic fucking piece of evidence, you'd think someone handed them a Rubik's Cube to solve. So we have the dumbassery on all fronts that people had years to correct the record on. What else pisses me off about this? I think if anything, it's the fact that no one bothered to ask me any questions, yet Gilded, the one who was talking the most shit about how someone needs to get the fucking record straight on what happened and when it happened, especially when it came to Lio calling him out for being okay with raiding servers full of minors with degenerate shit, fucking gave, Jax an interview. He gave that person a platform to spew his shit despite doing 95% of the damage in that call. Yeah, he was a child in that call. He get yelled at by some boomer. Guess what? I was yelled at too, and I'm not seeing a fucking pity party being thrown for me. In fact, I'd argue Lio did more shit to me overall outside of that call than I've been open about for a while now, and yet everyone points to the fucking Jax call. If you really want an example of some actual fucking dirt to find on Lio, go watch the end of the fucking birthday special I posted not even 6 months ago, where I talk about how a bunch of people from Senate raided my server, Lio included, and how we all got yelled at because we called Coyote Lovely gay. In fact, Lio even, at least from what I've been told, made comments about my friend's disability for whatever fucking reason. So this is the part that actually got me into trouble with Coyote Lovely. So,
fake screenshots.
yeah, so let me go ahead and actually cover this. So what happened was during the whole incident where people from Senate showed up in the House of Chaos, I think it was because originally the server was at one point called Flat Fanta Senate or some shit. But what happened was they came in and I was basically pulled into a VC. Coyote had brought up the video on Quoog, and this was one of the parts that the thing is, I didn't directly allege that he was a child predator. All I said was, hey, this video is coming out soon. That goes further into these accusations. I never said, like, hey, this is definitive. I never said, hey, he's a child predator, because I still had the sense to be like, hey, this might not be true. This might not. And Coyote still ran with that as me alleging that he was a child predator, because, like, I put these accusations publicly, and apparently, like, led people to that conclusion or some stupid shit like that. And it gets even worse because, and I heard about this afterwards, like, I forget which Senate member said it, was probably Coyote or something, but one of them literally said, oh yeah, we've had Nora's info for a year.
Like your personal info?
Yeah.
Yes.
That? No.
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
Yes. They said
That's, what?
Yeah, they said that they had Nora's info.
Yeah, and it's wild because, like, when I did that retraction, I immediately had people going, oh, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, like, and
I know, you were being fucking blackmailed if you
I was,
didn't do that.
and I didn't know, like, how to properly describe, like, hey, like, this happened because I was afraid of retaliation from Senate. So
And you never received an apology.
I never received an apology from anyone.
Fuck them for that. Fuck them.
None of
Have you
us.
still not received any sort of apology?
I still have not
Nope,
received
none
any
of us
sort of
have.
apology from anyone. Like, none of us have. Something which I've talked about for almost 4 years now. No, something I've brought up for a couple of years now publicly, like in streams and shit. And yet, people overlook it. Oh wait, I know why. It's because those incidents weren't made public by someone who matters. Instead, you all chose to go to the fucking Rosa call, the Jax call, and the shit with Hopeless Peaches for dirt on a while, because that's the easiest shit for you to justify ripping into him for. Because, frankly, from what it looks like, from my perspective, it just looks like you all had some sort of bone to pick with Lio, and you just valued that over doing basic fucking research. In fact, you value that so much that when I finally decided to correct the record on Wanza's video because he misrepresented the situation, all I got in response was someone going out of their way to run offense against Lio because old man bad. And just for the record, and I'm aware that many people on both my side and other people's side disagree on this, I found what he did fucking hilarious at the very least because I thought it was warranted. That's the honest fucking truth about it. Because given the shit he was doing, you know, which wasn't just Discordian drama, it was actual fucked up shit, like, I don't blame Lyle for doing what he did. In fact, I think his only crime was having a fucking dick measuring contest over a fucking Discord call, and maybe, like, the part about him threatening to show up to someone's house. That's really his only crime there. And, you know, I'll just say it right here and now. Initially, when people started twisting the story about the call to say Lyle called the school and accuse someone of being a school shooter, I found it kind of hilarious, because the leap in logic was retarded enough for me to find it hysterical. But honestly, I'm fucking tired of it right now. I'm aware that some of the people that spread falsehoods about this call are friends with Lio now because whatever fucking reason, I guess optics or whatever the fuck, that's his choice to make. But I couldn't give any less of a damn about that because I really don't care about what Lio thinks or does. I'm way more concerned with my side of the story having been public knowledge for 3 years now, and yet no one thought to read into it because they would rather just turn the serial harasser into a fucking martyr for the cause, to the point where, again, Gilded gave him a fucking platform for it. And frankly, what pissed me off even more about this is that because of that interview, that shit was framed as Jax being gaslit into apologizing, which isn't the fucking case. It absolutely was not the case, because there's been several instances where he's feigned apologies to people without being quote-unquote gaslit into it, and yet somehow this is the one instance where he was fucking manipulated into apologizing for some shit that warranted a fucking apology. And I'm aware that I'm probably going to have people saying that I really shouldn't be salty about something that isn't that deep and is years old, and those people might be right. If only I gave a shit. I will crash the fuck out about this if I want to, because at the end of the day, one person is a serial harasser who sent me feral porn, let his friends show a bunch of minors porn against their consent, raided Discord servers, and sexually harassed Lyle over voicemail, which has been proven in Lyle's fucking response.
Well, that's because Jax has a really bad habit of doing unhinged or dangerous things when attention is put on him. That varies from interviewing pedo zoos, or even doing stunts like making direct calls to leave me gross voicemails.
Hi, Lio. The name's Tyrone, and I just fucked your wife. You can't do jack shit about it, can you? Yeah, Lio. You better check your wife's booty cheeks, because I clapped them.
One is just some old dumbass in a lion mask whose, again, only crime in this situation was getting into some dumbass dick measuring contest with someone trying to rage bait him. And one is a trans woman who has to watch people ignore her side of the story or outright lie about it for the sake of winning an internet war. Can you guess which one I am?